INEOS seriously considering potential manager available on the market to replace Ruben Amorim with? Who are they looking at? Who's on the manager market? And who is this name that's not really been linked to Manchester United before? Talking of managers, Zinedine Zidane is ready to get back into management, and could he be a name that INEOS approach if they do decide to sack Ruben Amorim? There's a feeling Ruben Amorim is safe for the next few games, but if he doesn't get a result versus Brentford and Sunderland, he could very much go in the October international break. We're going to talk about the goalkeeping situation because reports have come out that United want a new goalkeeper despite signing Lammens. We will talk about the latest on that. There's a lot of interest in Joshua Zirkzee. We're going to talk about his future and what to expect. But also Manchester United. Manchester United looking at signing a player in January. This player is not Carlos Baleba. This player is not a midfielder. Who is the player that United, according to reports, are seriously considering signing in January and want? And we also will talk about some interesting statistics on Manchester United. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news roundup, where if you're new to the channel, every evening I round up all the latest Manchester United news into a 10-minute video for you guys, so you're up to date on everything. So what's been said on the manager front? Former Barcelona boss Xavi Hernandez is seriously considered as a potential replacement for Ruben Amorim at the helm of Manchester United. Now, first of all, I always feel like every now and then when things go wrong, we get a link to Xavi. Now, I don't think we've been linked to him a lot. The links have been Iriola, the links have been Glasner, the links have been Unai Emery. And I think my mindset is, as long as Ruben Amorim's job's on the line or doesn't feel safe, we're going to be linked to managers. Unless Ruben Amorim starts winning the next 5 games in a row and things like look really safe, we're going to be linked to managers. And I think we have to take every sort of link to a manager with a pinch of salt, unless it comes from Ornstein, Romano, Laurie Whitwell. I think we have to take it with a pinch of salt. However, if this is true, it means we've been looking at other managers. If we're seriously considering Xavi, it says to me, if we're looking at managers and seriously considering another manager, it says to me, well, they don't have full faith in Amorim and they may consider sacking him, which doesn't take a genius to point out, this talk about Amorim being given time, but time could be 2 games, time could be 10 games. Until Amorim gets results, we will be linked with other managers. We don't know if Manchester United is seriously considering this manager or that manager. Sometimes we have to look at the media and say they could be guessworking, but apparently Xavi Hernandez is seriously being considered. And if this is true, then obviously if Amorim gets a few bad results, this is something that could happen. Now, it's El Nacional. I don't think they're the best source of information. I do think the media is jumping on Man United looking at this manager stories because, I don't know, they have got nothing else to write about us. But we always get linked to Xavi. But I do think there's probably other managers in the back of INEOS's mind. I don't know if it's Xavi. Now, interestingly, there is reports saying that Zinedine Zidane is preparing for his comeback. This came out from Fabrizio Romano, according to MUFC YTP. A lot of United fans saying, come to Manchester United if Zinedine Zidane comes back. Zinedine Zidane coming back from manager, cool. Coming back into management is cool. But I will say this, I don't know if he'd want to come to Manchester United. I think if Amorim goes, we look at Glasner, we look at Iriola. I don't know if we go for Xavi. I don't think we'd be able to get Enrique or Flick or anyone like that. I think if Ruben Amorim goes, we'll try for Zinedine Zidane, but I don't think he's going to want to come to Manchester United. I don't know where he'd go, to be honest, because if he doesn't go Real Madrid, where would he go? I don't know. Maybe Man City to replace Pep. That's maybe something he'd be interested in. Apparently he can't speak English. I don't know how true that is. But obviously some Man United fans are saying, this is one to watch for Manchester United if he wants to get back into management. But something tells me he wouldn't be interested in Manchester United. And second of all, we haven't sat Ruben Amorim yet. We might go win our next 3 games in a row and the narrative could change. Or we're going to drop points in the next 3 games and Ruben Amorim is very much going to be on the edge. So, I want to talk about Zirkzee. I want to talk about other news. But I want to talk about this story that came out from Napolista that said that Ruben Amorim has put Federico Di Marco at the top of his Manchester United wish list for the January window. He's a target for United, and Amorim is very keen. Now, everyone keeps saying that Di Marco is 31, 32 years of age, which is not true. Di Marco is 27 years old. He's a left wing back. Everyone will remember the poor semi-final we had. But no, he's a good player, Di Marco, a very good wing back, and a player that I like. Obviously, we've got Dorgu at left wing back, but we've got nobody else really. You've got Leon for the future. Dello can play there. Dorgu, I think Dorgu's very good when it comes to ball progression and carrying, but his final third product could improve. So I get why United might look at someone like a DeMarco for experience. Look, I think for the right price, it's a player I'm open to, but it's not a player I'm like, wow, break the bank for him. He's 27 years of age. He's a decent left wing back, but it's not like a wow player. I like the player. I think he's a good player. I think he's a better player than people think, because a lot of people think he's some 30-year-old trash slow guy, and he's not. Amorim is apparently very keen on DeMarco, and I think left wing back and wing back in general is something that more need to be considered. I think in 2026. I mean, I look at 2026 and it's Wharton, Baleba, Semenyo, and then I think the fourth position to consider would be goalkeeper or wing back. I think it's an area that needs to be considered. He's a target for United, and Amorim is keen. That's the first link to him. Let's see if anything happens in and around January, but I still think United's focus and priority will be a midfielder. I think surely it has to be a midfielder. Elliot Anderson, Wharton, Baleba, they need to look to sign one of those. People may ask if United have the funds to do anything in January, but considering we made a late move for Baleba, it suggests that we do have some funds. Also, with Rashford and Højlund's exit looking more and more likely, the better they do, funds will be coming in. And look, there is players at Manchester United that other clubs are interested in. Maino is one of them. Zirkzee is another one, which currently, right now, we don't want to sell. But that stance could change in January. Romano said that Italian clubs have not stopped tracking Joshua Zirkzee, but Manchester United keeping closed doors at the moment. Ruben Amorim considers him an important player. Joshua Zirkzee isn't back to full fitness, which is why we haven't seen him play loads, but he is an important player for Manchester United. He can offer something very unique to Sesko, can play as a 10, can play as a 9, can hold up the ball really well. Joshua Zirkzee is such a unique player with such a unique skill set that I really like, and I want to see him get more involvement. I actually think he could have been really good off the bench versus Chelsea the other day with the control that he brings. So, yeah. I look at Joshua Zirkzee, and I don't want Joshua Zirkzee to be sold. I don't want Man United to sell Zirkzee. I think we've got to give Zirkzee a little bit of time this season. He's just coming back from his injury. He hasn't got many minutes before we judge him. But look, Italian clubs are looking at Zirkzee. If he doesn't get a lot of minutes come January, United could consider selling him. But I don't think we will consider selling him because he offers something so unique and different that I think Amorim will need to use. I think as well with Sesko being young and raw, it's good to have a player like Zirkzee. But look, United are keeping the doors closed right now for Zirkzee, but we know if the right offer came in, United could potentially open those doors. But right now, they're happy with the player, and I think that's the right decision. I'm happy with Zirkzee. I like Zirkzee. I want to see him get a few more minutes in the legs. I think he's a good player. Now, an interesting story came out from Samuel Luckhurst, and Samuel Luckhurst does like those sort of stories that can stir the pot a little bit. We know that he does. Now, Samuel Luckhurst has changed from the Manchester Evening News to The Sun, and his first major report for them is that apparently Manchester United have prioritised a major goalkeeper signing next year. Apparently, that is the new priority. He said that United recently dealt with Mike Magnan's said his name wrong, Mike Magnan's reps when they were in talks for Mbumo, and he's out of contract next year. Now, look, Lammens I don't think necessarily came in to be first choice, but I think Lammens came in as someone that potentially should take Bayindir's place, a little bit like James Trafford, and maybe Mike Magnan's is like the Donnarumma that comes and replaces him next year. Obviously, Lammens didn't cost a lot of money, but he cost enough money for him to be considered a first choice keeper. We just signed Lammens. They like Lammens. They rate Lammens highly, but he does lack experience. It's not an expensive signing, and United may look at a cheap, bigger name goalkeeper next summer. I think the reason we didn't go for a bigger goalkeeper than Lammens is purely because we didn't know if Onana was going to go, and Onana was on high wages. I think if Onana goes permanently and Bayindir goes, we could have Lammens and someone more experienced in there. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think, I don't think you can say right now that United are going to prioritise a goalkeeper next year, because once if Lammens comes in for Bayindir next game, and Lammens is so good, we'll get to the end of the season and we'll say, well, we don't need a goalkeeper. I don't think Man United are going to make any decisions on what the priority is next summer until we get to the end of the season. I think midfield will be a priority just because of Casemiro leading and the lack of options there. And goalkeeper could be a priority, but I think they'll want to see Lammens first before they prioritise that. And last but not least, I wanted to end on a positive note. Well, is it positive? I don't know. Manchester United created more XG than any other Premier League side, but we've only got 6 goals and we're ranked 11th. But it's good to see that United are actually creating the most in terms of XG, which says to me that maybe the results will come because we are underperforming our metrics, which hopefully means it balances out and we start to overperform our metrics or perform our metrics to that kind of level, and we'd be much further up the league. My hope is that that kind of balances out. I think when you don't have a midfield and when the manager sort of gets caught out in the second half of games and doesn't have to adapt to that, it doesn't help. But it's good to know we're creating the chances. Hopefully we start getting the goals. Hopefully we start getting the wins. Hopefully we start getting the confidence. But listen, people, that is your 10-minute roundup. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.